Episode 51 Sexual Communication. Mr. X approached me. He wanted me to check whether he has contracted any sexually transmitted infection. I asked him, why did he go to a commercial sex worker when he's a married person? He said, Doctor, there are certain things my wife will not do for me. For example, oral gentle sex. I counter-questioned him. Did you ask her to do it? And did she refuse it? No, doctor. How can I ask her to do all these things? Family women will not like to discuss these things and do these things. This man's problem lies, apart from the risk of STDs, in not able to communicate his needs to his wedded partner. In fact, failure of effective communication is the main cause for many sexual and marital discords. When I say communication, people only think of exchanging information. No, sir. When you give information, only when you give certain facts. What is important is to recognize the intention and the emotion behind giving information and receiving information. They are very important. Just talk alone is not sufficient. Emotion, intention are very important, which we fail to pay attention to. It is not just sufficient if you talk or convey something to your partner. You must make sure that what you are saying, what your intention, what your emotion is being understood by your partner. And if she is responding, you must also try to understand not just the verbal words, but her intention, her emotion behind the statements she makes. So it is not just exchanging information. In committed relationships, what makes it stand? There are certain strong pillars which will make any committed relationships, like marriage, to stand firm. It is in our hands to make sure whether it stands firm only for a short period or forever. Some of these pillars are trust, respect, love, and intimacy. These four pillars are very strong and they are very, very important in any committed relationship, be it marriage or a romantic relationship. For these pillars to stay strong, the foundation needs to be again strong, solid. The core foundation of any pillar is effective communication. That is why, even in sexual matters, effective communication is very important. Why is that we find difficult to communicate our sexual needs and wants to a partner? The reason is simple. Because early in childhood, we learn realize that sex is not an acceptable topic for discussion among family members. Why? Because parents do not talk about sex at home. If parents do not talk about sex at home, how will we learn to talk about sex in a good way and good words to use about sex later in life when we get married? So the problem starts in childhood itself. Because we're indirectly told by our parents, elders, that sex is a taboo subject, it should not be discussed among family members. So the same feeling carries even in adult life. Sexual communication is a very fine blend of verbal and non-verbal cues, interactions. In fact, communication can be both verbal and non-verbal, as you know. That is why people say that sex is the most intimate form of interpersonal, non-verbal communication. I repeat, sex is the most intimate form of interpersonal, non-verbal communication. Now, verbal communication is easy to understand. What are the non-verbal aspects of a communication? There are 4 important components. They are facial expressions, interpersonal distance, touching, and sounds. All these non-verbal cues, facets, differ from culture to culture. We must understand. That is why our elders used to say that you must look for alliance from the same background. By same background is not meant by caste or community. The way we live, our attitudes to life, our interest and taste, that is the family background we have to look for to, not caste, community, religion, etc. If the culture in your partner's family is different from the culture in your family, then whatever you may tell in good faith may be misunderstood by the other partner. So if she doesn't understand your non-verbal facets, then how are you going to communicate effectively your sexual needs? And how is she going to understand your sexual needs? That is why it's very important. Both verbal and non-verbal facets have to be taken seriously. There are few pointers for effective communication. Number 1, initiate and allow to initiate. Many times I find husband alone initiates. They don't allow the wives to initiate. But when you allow your wife to initiate, you are indirectly telling her that you respect her attitude, you respect her expectations, and you understand her needs. So just don't initiate, but allow to be initiated. The second thing, alternate between topics. When you are talking something, discussing something, especially sexual matters, don't keep on doing a monologue. Tell only what you want, what you think is right, and what you think is bad. No. It should be a dialogue. monologue is not good for you or for anybody for that matter. That is why in between you should allow your partner to speak and express their feelings. So alternate between topics. Then avoid expectations that your partner is a mind reader. She or he is not a tarot reader or an astrologer or a divine speaker. Unless you express, unless you tell about your needs and wants, how will she know? Similarly, unless she expresses her needs and wants sexually, how will you know? Don't expect that in a marriage they will automatically understand. No, sir. You have to learn to inform them. If not today, tomorrow they will learn to understand. A simple example, if you want idli for breakfast tomorrow morning, you must tell your partner that you want idli for the breakfast. If you don't tell, she may make a upma, and then there's no point in shouting at her, asking her, who asked you to make this? I wanted only idli. So expressing and not expecting your partner to be a mind reader is very important. Learn to communicate difficulties. Don't think that only you have problem, all marriages are free from problems. As somebody said, there is nothing called a successful marriage. Either a marriage is succeeding or failing the way you handle it. So what is important is your ability to handle hardships in a relationship. So if you face any difficulty, any problem, don't hesitate to explain this to your partner. Only thing when you express or explain, don't make it accusatory. Don't accuse that he doesn't understand. You must tell this is what you would like her to do it for you. So it should be non-accusatory and it should be in the form of a request. Then the partner has got a chance not to be on the defensive and to understand your needs and to cater to your needs. That way, both of you can comfortably overcome hardships in the relationship. Don't expect your marriage to be conflict-free. Conflict management is the key. As I mentioned earlier, there is not a single marriage which has got no problems. If you are able to manage the conflicts, then you will have a happy marriage or a happy relationship. And for that conflict management, effective communication is very, very, very important. And finally, one mnemonic, KISS, K-I-S-S. What does it mean? Keep it simple and straight. Keep it simple and straight. What does it mean? Whatever you communicate, be simple and be straightforward. Don't complicate things. If you are simple and straightforward, your communication will become effective. If your communication is effective, the pillars of your relationship will become strong. And pillars are strong, your relationship will last forever.